A river picnic in Essex. The sunlight was so white it seemed to bleach the grey gravel, turning it a beautiful creamy slate as we crunched along that riverside pathway. I've always been drawn to those colourful, fairly thick, glossy, expensive magazines, the kind you find in hotels or dentists' waiting rooms. Those generically titled regional upmarket visitor attraction type things. They have titles like Essex Life or East Anglian Coast, or even more imaginatively than that, Essex. Never quite drawn enough to actually buy one, of course, but certainly happily enough to mull through the contents, smell the distinctive print, and glean the interior design tips from a middle-aged minor celebrity I've never heard of. Heather Wood-Peyton opens her doors would be a typical article, where she is seen photographed in her kitchen, where shabby chic decor is matched by tasteful antiques. Now, somewhere in those magazines, you will always find a piece about our top 6 unknown treasures and secret locations in the county, and whereupon what follows is an article about tiny tea houses in Tolsbury or the sunken herb gardens of Heybridge Basin. Invariably, I want to visit every one of them, and invariably, I never do. But as we crunched along that coastal path, I had the feeling that our little group had somehow stepped through a portal into one of those magazine articles and into one of those very top lists. We headed out from Wivenhoe towards the gravel pits of Alresford Creek. The sun so bright in the water, the mudflats so muddy and flat, until a mile or so downriver where you can push through the gorse onto a little well-trodden wish line, and there you are, in a grassy clearing that sits adjacent to the stones on White House Beach. We sat down and waited for high tide, watching as the water lapped up closer and closer over the pedals to the modest picnic things we'd thrown into our small rucksacks. And then we swam in that salty sea river estuary. Oh my goodness, that water was so cold. But the sun was so warm. I've never had quite that sensation before, where such warm weather and such cold, calm water combined that day on White House Beach. An invisible stranger's dog arrived and joined us, and the children threw sticks into the water for her to chase. We found a small, old, rusty shovel, presumably from the old gravel pit washed up. After an hour or so, a tiny boat appeared, chugging up the river and landed about 30 yards away. An elderly couple alighted and ate their sandwiches. And when the tide eventually turned, so did we. The tidal river flowed back to the sea, and we flowed back to the town.